Welcome back to Shem's Universe. So today, guys, I'm going to go over the worst luck numbers and signs today to watch out for in 2025. So what you guys have to understand is that, like, there's ways to navigate around everything in life. Like, you don't have a bad sign or a bad number that can't win even in a year that has opposition. All your opposition is there to do is to essentially help you get to the next level. So it's there to teach you something. And when you can actually grasp that in the correct way with the correct posturing, I say, of the mindset, then you'll actually win. But if you don't do that, then obviously you're just going to lose. So I went over yesterday the trine that would win this year when it comes to numerology, 3, 6, and 9 for sure. You guys are going to dominate. Don't worry about it. This video isn't for you guys. But I did also list numbers that were enemies to the 9 yesterday briefly. So I want to cover those a little bit more today. The first one would be the number 2 is an enemy to the number 9 universal year. So number 2s and 11s have to be very, very careful this year. I'd say even watch for what I'm saying through celebrities that have these numbers, especially life path 11s, as they're usually quite famous or notorious for one thing or another. You may see your downfall this year if you're not cautious. And the way the 9 will attack you as a life path 2 or a life path 11 is by the ways of making you swing your emotions, by pulling you back and forth. You have to exhibit a lot of emotional control this year because there's going to be a lot of anger and frustration in a Martian year, such as the 9. It's a year of resolution and completion, but to complete things, oftentimes there has to be a lot of chaos before things get across that finish line. So understanding that, you have to realize that the cycle of things is that the 1 year will be a lot more peaceful for you guys, but the 9 year is going to be chaotic to actually get people out of your life that are not necessary, change circumstance. Maybe if you don't need to live in a town or a city or a home that you're in, there'll be very drastic things or dramatic things that seemed unnecessary, but it's all under the adage of, like, God has a plan. The universe has a plan for you. So that's why these things are actually happening. And when you have that perspective or that mind state, you then have an easier time navigating the realm that you're in. The next one that's going to have a major problem this year is the life path 7s. Life path 7s will have major issues this year when it comes to remaining within their faith. I think that life path 7 people are going to have a hard time strictly believing in not just themselves, but what their ideology or religion is, just as a mental contrast. I think that's going to actually perpetuate into different issues in the mental realm for life path 7s, and it might turn to a cerebral issue. So try to avoid, as a 7, overly exerting yourself when it comes to working out. Definitely avoid that completely. Be very form-based if you're going to be training any at all. And when it comes to mindset, I say practice more so being mindful and almost submitting to the universe this year. Understand that chaos will ensue, and stick with your process and stick with your religion or your faith. The moment you sway off those things as a 7 is the moment you leave your power behind you, and then you let the world run you over. So you need to make sure that you stay grounded with the belief system that you have in place. Even if things go contrary to it or it seems that it's not working, you need to trust the process this year, in order to endure and just keep passing through. That's the only simple way to get around it. Another big thing is that if you're like hunting for an ideology or faith or religion or something of that nature as a 7 this year, what you should be doing is looking for actual factual evidence. I said actual than factual, by the way. But yeah, so actual factual evidence of what you believe in. So if you're searching for a belief system, I wouldn't even say it's the best year to search for that, as it's a spiritual year, yes, due to the 9, but at 7s, I feel like the 9 will sway you in the wrong way. It's more of something where if you don't have a belief system outside of yourself, just believe in yourself strictly, and that's it. And please, as a 7, use the mind, not the heart. Another piece of advice for 2s and 11s, wear a lot of white this year. Bright colors will help you a lot. Don't you wear dark colors like magenta red, black, things like that. It'll attract angry people and resentment and just random circumstance to you. And the same thing goes for the 7. Bright greens, blues, yellows. Be mindful, spend a lot of time in nature. That's what's going to do best for you. And just understand that this year, this teacher year, not an enemy year, is here to teach you more about yourself and how you actually will go against any sort of turmoil or obscurity of sorts. So you just got to make sure that you understand that everybody has a cycle, everybody has a time where they dominate. This is not your time, but you can actually still dominate this year by understanding that. So it's a bit of a double edge. If you understand what I'm saying, then you actually will treat this year a lot more diligent, a lot more serious, a lot more focused. And then as a result, you'll probably get better results you've got in other years where you weren't as serious anyways. Because that's what I find is that people will do better if they know it's their enemy here, because all of a sudden they're putting like their best foot forward, at least for the people with the warrior mindset. The people that want to be victims, I don't even know why you watch my channel anyways, but you need to have a mindset of, even if I'm in an enemy year, I can dominate this year simply by understanding what my enemy is like, its characteristics, and then adapting to it. As a 7, use that as a mental construct and deconstruct your enemy. The enemy is the number 9 for you. The 9 is very egotistical. The 9 is very ideological. The 9 wants you to be adaptive. So the main thing for everybody this year across the numerological and astrological space, is that you have to be very adaptive to the different circumstances that are going to inevitably come about this year. It's going to be a very chaotic year from a worldwide standpoint, a political standpoint, a reform within governments. All of these things are about to take place. I don't talk about these things much on YouTube, as I'll definitely get kicked off if I really say the real meaning of the 9-year here. Can't do that. But you guys should be able to read in between the lines. A lot of chaos will ensue, and you just have to be in a position to make yourself adaptable to it. Speaking from a Chinese astrological perspective for a second, obviously the pig is going to be the worst luck sign this year. The snake is going to try to eat you up in the next, towards January 20th, the next 8 to 9 days. So how do you prepare for that? As a pig, you guys are pretty generous. You guys wear your heart on your shoulder half the time. Put the heart away, use the mind like I told the 7s, and be very diligent with who you spend your time with. Network with people that are in their friendly trine with the snake, possibly. I wouldn't conduct any new business as a pig this year, and I definitely wouldn't tell anybody my intentions. Everything you do should be a silent move where you're just going through life obtaining different objectives without saying anything to anybody. The only people that should know anything about your business are people that are actually directly assisting you in it, meaning they're a part of that, why they even know about it. So even if you have family that you live with, you don't need to tell them your business. Like, unless they're actually contributing to it or they're part of your business initially, they don't need to know your business this year. The people around you are what's going to sabotage you the most as a pig and a snake here. That's who eats you up, is the snakes, the people that are around you that you think you can trust. So if you have no trust this year and move militant, you'll have a great year and you'll be extremely rich and successful. I promise you that. Lastly, this one will surprise you guys. There's sun signs as well that won't do too well. The second sun sign, Taurus. Taurus is going to have a harder year this year as a result of the 9-year. It's going to be very hard for Taurus to, at least, I wouldn't say attain wealth, but retain it. You're going to find that expenses come to you in very, very different ways. Your rising sign at least will protect you or make this even worse. And then the next and final one is the 7th sign, which is Libra. Libra might have a lot of issues when it comes to relationships this year, with family leaving your life, friends leaving your life. Your significant other might have infidelity, cheat, or might leave you as well. These things are all happening for a reason, because you have a very special year coming up shortly. As a Libra, you guys definitely had a very good last year, meaning Saturn was on your side completely. So this year, you got to more so take the blows as they come, but it should still not be too bad if you're very, like I said, adaptable. And the way to be adaptable is just to accept what's actually happening. Look at what you can actually physically or mentally change, and then look at what you actually have no control over and simply let those things go. If people want to walk out of your life, let them do that. If people want to stay, let them stay. It is what it is. So that is my advice for everybody across the space. So from a numerological perspective, a Chinese astrological perspective, and a tropical/Vedic astrological perspective as well. So I hope this does help you guys when it comes to the worst luck numbers and signs, how you guys can actually adapt and win. And if you have any further questions, if it's just something that's general, leave it in the comment section. If it's something more private to your own individual circumstance, DM me on Instagram at shemsuniverse 8.0, or you can email me shemsuniverse@hotmail.com. So thank you guys so much for your time. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. Peace.